Come on, bro. You can shoot lightning out of your hands. You can ask a girl on a date. Come on. Do it. Do it. Hey, everyone. I'm CCYamato. Welcome back. It's chapter 47 of Clear Card, and I was right. This is a completely down chapter. There's basically nothing new introduced in this chapter, but it's really, really cute, and I want to talk about that. So we're picking up from the end of chapter 46. Sakura has clearly gone home, and Shaoran is feeling bad about making her worry because he's the one who, killed her good mood by saying, hey, those things that you're dreaming about, they can come true. And he realizes that that was really stupid. Fortunately, he's got the Clow cards around to give him a little bit of comforting, as you can see in this panel here. It's really cute. I love how they're, giving the Clow cards time to be out of their Clow forms, or out of their card forms, and just kind of interact as sentient creatures. You've got you've got the main ones like Light and Dark and Mirror being her adorable self, but you even have Fiery just kind of floating there. I don't know why Fiery is always drawn so small. I think they just want her in frame. It's just kind of weird seeing her just kind of like this little thing just here. But then, so you got Flower, and even Jump makes an appearance. But the next day begins with Shaoran determined to apologize to Sakura, but she doesn't appear to be giving him the opportunity to. It almost comes off like she's giving him the cold shoulder. Eventually, though, he does track her down, and he gets to get his opportunity to apologize and ask her out on a date. Because, as it's brought up, and I never thought about it before, but Sakura is the one who invited Shaoran to the Arboretum, the flower viewing thing, or the aquarium in the anime. Meanwhile, after that, we cut to just some down class time where Naoko appears quite exhausted because apparently she's been writing a lot for this play that, again, I'm very convinced that this play is going to matter to the finale of the series. We don't know how, but seriously, I'm putting my chips on the finale is going to be during that play. They're focusing too much on it at this point, so it's got to be that. And the final pages are very interesting because we see Kaito is suffering from sudden onset collapse syndrome. We don't know. I mean, here he is clutching his heart and being like, oh no, I must make haste or I'm running out of time. Are you dying? Please be dying. Maybe his imminent death will push him to actually pick up the pace and get Sakura to make the card that he wants. It's just a thought, Kaito. I've said this before. Why don't you just ask? I'm sure eventually we will be told why he couldn't just ask, but I feel like the option's still on the table. There's little else to say about this chapter because there isn't a lot of substance, but one thing I do want to point out is, once again, the art direction, and especially I want to point out how kind of chibi looking everything looks. Like there are several pages where the characters look a lot smaller or a lot more, I don't know, scaled down than they usually are. Like this shot of Naoko, she looks very much like her elementary school form instead of the slightly taller forms that they usually get drawn in while they're in elementary school. Same thing with this panel with Sakura, where she looks kind of small, and it is a perspective shot, but she still looks kind of stumpy compared to, how she's been drawn at some other points in the manga. And then, of course, there's this one where she really looks like she lost 6 inches or a foot of height, and I absolutely love it. It looks adorable. It's just a really odd art change from what I'm used to in seeing the series. One other interesting thing to point out is a scene earlier where she has an interaction with some Tomoeda elementary school students who I presume are also 4th graders, and you see the considerable difference in height between the 4th graders and Sakura, who is now a 7th grader. She's 3 years older than either of them. It's interesting to note because throughout the original Cardcaptor Sakura, you never really got a sense that any of the characters really physically grew throughout the series. And I think this is kind of a thing that you just see in a lot of series where the art direction doesn't necessarily change throughout the story, or because you're following them from their perspective, they just, they look consistent and you don't see the changing world around them. And I can't really tell if this is really more like it's exaggerated, because those 4th graders look like they're on the teeny side. And I'm just assuming they're 4th graders because they're in Terada's class. And Terada taught 4th grade, or he was the 4th grade homeroom teacher. So that being said, that's really all that happened in Chapter 47. If you want to read it for yourself, as I say every time, you can go over to Comixology.com and you can buy the chapter for, I believe it's $1.99. It's a good way to support the releases of the series and continue to show interest as fans. It's the only way we're going to get a season 2, as I keep saying, and it's worth it. It's so good to look at. It'll brighten your day. I guarantee it. I love the art direction of ClearCard in general. I always have found it better than the original Cardcaptor Sakura manga, and on par with the original Cardcaptor Sakura anime. I love to look at it, and I love it so much that I buy the Nakayoshis, which is obviously a bit more expensive than a lot of people are willing to shell out, but I'm a collector, it's what I do. But as I said, link in the description, Comixology.com. Go buy the chapter, read it yourself. It's a fun way to spend 5 minutes of your time, because it is short. Anyway, I'll see you next month when I talk about Chapter 48, and hopefully something interesting happens. Till then, see you later.